It has been so long since I have made a video that I don't even remember how to start it. So I guess I'm just gonna start by saying, hey, what's been up? Summer got bonkers hectic for me. It was like I never had time to film, or if I did, I didn't have my camera, or, you know, I would just fall asleep. It's been a busy, busy summer, and a lot of things have happened, including, look at my bookcase. A whole shelf fell down. I just haven't fixed it yet. So we are going to finish reading E.L. James's The Mr. or The Mrs. today. That's the last time I'm going to get to do that. That's the last time I'm going to get to mess up the title of the book. But we're going to finish that up today. And then at the end of the video, I will announce what we are going to do next. Because we are going to do the book that came in second on the Patreon poll. So get excited for that. We are now on chapter 32 of The Mrs. I'm not going to give a recap because, you know, you're watching this video after the fact. I probably need a recap of what's going on, but I'm not going to give myself one. Let's just jump in with 2 feet, and then if I'm curious, I can just go back and watch the video before this. Maxim and Alessia are walking home. They're talking about the dinner that they just had, the dinner that was like them dealing with all of his family trauma or what have you. And Alessia's like, your mother was kind to me. And then Maxim says this fucked up thing. My mother has seen the error of her ways. She seemed like a different person at dinner after she'd aired all her dirty laundry to the family. Like, to me, that's a fucked up thing. Not like a fucked up thing to say about somebody, but just like a fucked up thing is like they had one conversation. There was all of this betrayal, and after one conversation, everything was fine. Alessia asks him what he talked about with Caroline. I worry because I think Caroline is still in love with you. I'm not sure. Caroline and I were never a good match. We were good friends. Are good friends. And that's where she belongs. In the friend zone. She knows I only have eyes for you. I've never loved anyone like I love you. I wouldn't say that, Maxim. You sure do love yourself a lot. Alessia says she's never loved anyone but him, and he responds by asking if she was in love with that guy that kidnapped her in the first book. I forgot his name. They call him the arsehole. But that guy, Ilya, something like that? I don't know. That guy. And of course she doesn't love him. He kidnapped her. Like, what a weird thing to say. Like, why would you even tease somebody about that? Anyway, after that, he says, real casual like, I wonder if he murdered those men, your traffickers. Like, oh, I wonder if this happened. I wonder if he murdered them. Oh, like, this is like not a casual topic, sir. But Alessia says that she's wondered the same thing, but she has no idea, and neither of them really want to know because they don't want to be mixed up in that world. Then Maxim says, but we should do something to help women like Blariana. I'm going to discuss it with Marianne. In fact, you should join our board of trustees for the charitable trust, and we can find a charity that helps women like your friend. So this whole book, Alessia's whole kind of arc has been about like Blariana and finding out if she's okay and the trafficking and stuff like that. Like, yeah, she's got the piano thing going on. I respect that. But her main storyline and her main motivation seemed to be stopping the human trafficking. So while Alessia's entire thing has been about coming to terms with having been trafficked and helping another victim of trafficking, you would think that the next logical step in the story would obviously be for Maxim to come up with the idea of helping women who are being trafficked. We also find out that one of the things that Maxim loves about Alessia is this. Alessia is not one of those women that needs to fill all the spaces with chatter, and I love her all the more for it. So he loves her because she used to clean his house and she's quiet. Cool. Romance. Alessia asks him what's in this box that he took from Caroline's house. He's like, oh, it's something of my brother's. There's more incredibly fucked up stuff. Some of Kit's things. I'll have a look tomorrow. Right now, I'm having to reevaluate my opinion of him. Why? Because he's only your half-brother? No, that's not the reason. He'll always be my brother. It's because of how he treated Caro, and me, actually. He wasn't a kind man, and he had a dark side that he kept well hidden, but not so much from Caroline. No, he was really good at hiding his dark side from us because it didn't show up until the last quarter of this book that I can recall. I don't remember him having this awful dark side until it came time to wrap up this whole mystery. We're about to head into a sex scene, I think. Yeah, we are. So, I have to, I have to read the worst description of a kiss you're ever gonna hear in a book in your life. Brace yourself. Tongues and teeth and lips and love. It's all there, M dash, in our kiss. Tongues and teeth and lips and love. They go into the bedroom and she starts to like undress slowly and he starts to like take off his cufflinks and it's like, it's so erotic. I just can't stand how erotic this is going to be. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be just amazing. Alessia licks her upper lip and it might as well be my dick. That's her! That's old dick lips! We have another go-go gadget dick situation going on in this scene. She wants to unbutton his shirt. Let me, she says, eyeing me from beneath her lashes. We got her from beneath her lashes! She's looking at him from beneath her lashes. This is just like a fanfic. A Paul Dark fanfic! Be my guest, I whisper. Who is this siren? She gently tugs my shirt from my trousers and continues to unbutton it, bloody slowly, each button from the top. How weird would it be if you came up and you started unbuttoning somebody's shirt and tried to do it all sexy from like the bottom? Like, where do you start taking your shirt off? Everybody starts unbuttoning a shirt from the top. What kind of absolute strange weirdo person? You know what? JD Vance, I bet you $100 JD Vance unbuttons his shirt from the bottom up. Wayne Gacy looking motherfucker. Anyway, let's get to the go-go gadget dick moment. It's driving me crazy. My dick extending and hardening with each unfastening. It's like every button is a Pinocchio lie and it just makes it get a little bit bigger. The extending is the thing that gets me. I don't see a penis becoming erect. I see some sort of thing telescoping out. Oh my god, and this is just the beginning of the sex scene. Oh no. One of my favorite things in E.L. James's sex scenes is that she will tell you directly how you should feel about something. Her lips taste sweet, and they're eager to please me. And it's hot as hell. Like, just so you know, this is hot. And we know this because the character is directly telling us that this thing is hot. The phrase happy trail is used. I cannot take a sex scene seriously if happy trail is used. I have this horrible fear that I've said that and that somehow I will have used the phrase happy trail in a sex scene, but I can't remember a time when I would have. If you hate that I make fun of E.L. James's books, what I think you should probably do is go out and buy every single one of my available novels and scour them for the words happy trail. And prove me wrong. Buy every single book and prove me wrong. My girl is impatient. I like. It says, I don't know. You see that right there? It says, I like. It says inner thought, I like. It's like she's fucking the baby from Dinosaurs. Alessia wants to taste him. All, period, of, period, him, period. First of all, is this fucking Fourth Wing? What's with the period after every other word? And second of all, I hope that what happens next is that she unhinges her jaw and consumes him. Because she wants to taste all of him. I want that to mean full body. I want that to mean she is going to digest him in some sort of pouch for, you know, a period of 48 to 72 hours and we will be free. Oh, his tongue is wet and demanding. Jesus. Seriously? By the way, his dick has continued to get erect throughout this scene. It's another case of, like, the medical emergency that we heard about in earlier sex scenes. How hard can this man possibly get? Like, what is happening? Is he going to be okay? There's more of that, like, patented E.L. James describing the motion thing. She's giving him a blowjob and it's like up, down, again. All right, they have the standard sex scene. Here's the thing. I understand that it's, trust me, out of everybody in the whole, like, you know, obviously I understand, right? That it is difficult to come up with quality, interesting, engaging sex scenes again and again and again with the same characters. This is 2 books now where we've had bunches of sex scenes. And the problem is they're all basically the same. There's not a lot of variety here. And we have seen sex scenes that were kind of skipped over at points in this book that may have been more interesting, or the author would have been able to do more with them because of the uniqueness of the setting or the emotional stuff that's going on at the time, than what we're getting right now. Right now it feels like she got towards the end of the book and went, uh-oh, I don't have enough sex scenes, better throw one on there. And now we are at, you know, 95% in this book. And they've just wrapped up having this very standard, you know, she goes down on him, now she's on top, blah, 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 sex scene. I mean, it's just this very, and I don't want to say vanilla because I don't want to make it sound like I'm like, oh, you know, just regular old sex is just not interesting enough for a book. But I mean, there has to be something new. It can't just be that she realizes that he's all hers and he realizes that she's all his, and it's the same set of emotions that we see in every single sex scene. That's kind of what makes it boring, not necessarily the physical or the lack of variety in terms of what they are doing, who is putting what where, right? That is not the problem. The problem is the lack of variety in their internal thoughts and the way they are experiencing the sex. Because what we get with this book and in the last book is that every single time they have sex, they have the same big realizations. And it's always this huge realization of, oh, I love this woman. Oh, she's all mine. Oh, she, you know, you can't have those big emotional realizations in every single sex scene. I mean, you can, but the book will suck. So, there's a section break, and Alessia is waking up. It's now Saturday morning. She thinks about the night before, how her and Tom and Caroline and Joe, everybody went out to celebrate her acceptance into the Royal College of Music. Here's the thing. Do you remember that she made a friend at the finishing school? So she has a friend, and also Bluriana is in London. But the people that went out with her to celebrate getting into the Royal College of Music were Tom, Henry, Caroline, and Joe. Not her friends, only Maxim's friends. Their evening had started at a new restaurant in Mayfair where Maxim and Caroline knew the chef. So Maxim and Caroline were still doing this. They're basically a married couple and Alessia is the third wheel. There cannot be a third book to this. This has to be the final book, because I don't know why anybody would want to continue to read about this dynamic. And I will say this, I wrote a dynamic very similar to this. It was a big source of tension and conflict in The Boss. There was Neil's daughter's mother, who he was not with romantically, but they were still friends, and there was a long history, right? But the thing is, that's not interesting to read about if you've got a protagonist who doesn't ever interrogate it and doesn't ever seriously confront the hero about it and doesn't ever, you know, like keep it up. It's not like a one and done conversation thing. And I don't feel like Alessia has ever had the chance, other than just in this last chapter where she's like, I think she was in love with you. And Maxim's like, no, I don't think so. And that's it. It's solved. That you can't solve it in 2 lines. right? It has to be something that develops and relationships that have to be changed over time. I would have loved to see that happen in this book. I would have loved to see Alessia sort of explain to Maxim and really make him understand the way his relationship with Caroline makes her feel. And also to have anybody outside of Maxim that she could have talked about this with. A scene with Marianne where she discusses it, something like that. But we don't ever get that. We just get Alessia saying to Maxim, this makes me uncomfortable, if she even gets that far, because sometimes she doesn't even get that far. But on the occasions where she's been able to say, hey, this makes me uncomfortable, he just says, it shouldn't, and it's all done. So that it's not an interesting dynamic, and it would have been interesting to see that explored because nothing else in the book was interesting. It would have at least been some kind of plot. Now, but don't worry, because tomorrow, on Sunday, her great uncle and Bluriana are going to come to their house, and she's going to cook for them. They talk about breakfast, if he's had breakfast. She's going to make him avocado toast with smoked salmon. So what he's doing in the dark room, he's developing pictures from Cornwall. He's developing their Cornwall pictures. And of course, there's pictures of his wife, his beautiful wife, but the one he loves the most is the one of her helping a sheep give birth. And then Maxim comes out of the dark room and guess what? Alessia made him avocado toast. But before they can eat the avocado toast, she wants to have sex. But they can't because the doorbell rings. And it's Caroline. It's Caroline showing up at their house. Caroline is wearing jeans, brown leather boots, and her tweed jacket over a cream cashmere sweater. She looks as elegant as ever, but Alessia is no longer intimidated by her, even though she's barefoot and in her softest, most worn jeans. That's awesome! Wouldn't it have been cool if we had, like, seen the reason that Alessia doesn't feel this way? If there had been some sort of conversation that wasn't just Maxim saying, don't worry about it, and her going, okay, fine, I've been worried about it the whole book, and you've told me not to worry about it numerous times, but this time, because it's at 96% of the book, I won't worry. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so Caroline breezes in while Alessia is there, like, making breakfast, and she comes in and, like, gets a kiss on the cheek from Maxim. I don't like it. Just in case you are reading this book along with this and you're like, Jenny, at this point, they're just talking about the toast and how they're gonna eat the toast. Don't worry, Caroline is here for a reason. I spoke to my father about Alessia and her visa. Alessia's scalp prickles and Maxim's head jerks up. Now that Alessia has been accepted into RCM, she can get a student visa, and we can go from there, he says. But Daddy will expedite indefinite leave. He just needs the forms. What? Alessia breathes. He's a senior director at the Home Office. This is within his gift. I had dinner with him and the stepsow on Thursday. Oh, sorry, my stepmother. And told him that you needed to jump through all these ridiculous hoops. For God's sake, you're married to a peer of the realm. He agreed with me. That doesn't happen often. Anyway, he called me this morning with a plan. You remember at the beginning of this book when Alessia's dad pulled strings for their marriage and we had to listen to like the whole, like for like chapters, like 10 chapters, 12, 13, 14, just a shit ton of chapters. We had to constantly hear about since her father pulled those we had to hear about since her father pulled all those strings, then clearly it wasn't valid because this Albanian man pulled some strings in government, so the marriage is not valid. Something hinky has gone on. Now we are in England, and Caroline is like, oh, I've pulled some strings for your visa. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's great, because it's totally valid. If someone in England pulls strings and gets special governmental treatment, then that's fine. But if it happens in Albania, it's backwards and mob connected. And on top of that, what the fuck does it mean when you sit there and you write a fucking book and you write that it's different for Anastasia, not Anastasia, she was in the last book. It's different for Alessia to go through the immigration process because she married a peer of the realm. This was a choice. This was a choice that the author made to write that it's okay for Alessia to cut the line and circumvent some of that red tape because she's married to a peer of the realm. She's not one of those immigrants. She's an acceptable immigrant. Words fail me. On the one hand, it would be great to stop worrying about Alessia's legal status in the UK. On the other hand, this feels like ... cheating. Darling, title has its privileges, Caroline correctly interprets my frown. Wealth too, of course, she adds. Stop calling him darling. That is someone else's husband. This is weird. This is weird. Her behavior has not changed at all. She is continuing to behave towards Maxim the way that she has behaved, in a way that has bothered Alessia for the entire book. But suddenly, because we needed to resolve the plot line, and we didn't spend a lot of time being thoughtful about how to do this, then we're just gonna pretend that everything's different. I'm not sure I want to cheat our way to citizenship for Alessia. After all, deep down, that's how I feel about our wedding. We didn't follow the rules, which led to awkward press questions, and I don't want to end up in the press because we circumvented the visa system. I'd like to do this properly, but perhaps keep Caro's father in reserve. Okay, so kind of he's saying that it's, you know, this kind of makes it a little bit better about the whole Albanian cutting corners is bad, UK cutting corners is good. But at the same time, the reason that he doesn't want to cut corners is not because he has this big moral thing about it, and that's why he's still upset about what happened with the wedding. He's upset about the wedding because it caused complicated questions in the press. I don't remember what the complicated press questions were. I don't think we ever dealt with that. I think what we saw was like the press being like, oh, he's married. I don't remember them giving an interview or dealing with anything complicated. I think this is just tacked on. I think that the editor said, hey, maybe it might seem a little xenophobic that he has a problem, or the story seems to have a problem, or hinges on this suspense element of, did her dad cheat the system because he's a mob-connected goon? Maybe because you have that at the beginning of the book, at the end of the book, we need to not have it seem like there's a double standard. And she went, you know what, that's a good idea. I don't want it to look like that. I'm gonna go ahead and just have him express this in a way that makes the reader need to flip pages backwards to try to find where this press attention or these press questions were. All right, here's the mystery of what's in the box. What's in the box is an Iron Maiden belt, like a piece of Iron Maiden merch, because apparently Kit was really into heavy metal, which obviously we've heard all about, right? Anyway, that's what's in there. That's the thing of significance. That, and then there is their dad's watch, his Rolex Oyster Cosmograph. That's an expensive watch. He could make some money off of this if he needed to. He looks at the watch. There's an inscription that says, thank you, period, for everything, period, always your Ro, period. So obviously the author of this book was there in the shop when this was engraved and said, let me help you out. But it's from Rowena to her husband. He wore it every single day, I imagine, as a testament to her. I shake my head, knowing what I know now. She was lucky. I mean, he wore it every single day, I imagine, because he needed to be able to tell the time, and it was quite a status symbol. Probably both of those things. There are some cufflinks in the box, and he thinks about how, like, they might have been a gift from Carolyn to Kit, and so it's appropriate that I have these. I don't know. I don't think it's appropriate for you to have cufflinks that Caroline bought, but that's just me. Seriously, if I was Alessia, my immigration status would be imperiled by the fact that I beat her ass in the street in front of God and all of our neighbors. There is also a picture of him and Kit and Marianne, and they're standing on the dunes in Cornwall. And that's it. That's the mystery of what's in the box. There was a photo, there were cufflinks, there was a watch, and there was an Iron Maiden belt. Alessia's been out shopping. She comes back, and Maxim shows her the safe so she can learn how to open it, because Kit didn't teach Caroline how to open the safe. So he's teaching Alessia just in case something happens to him. And he says that there's important documents, my birth certificate, passport. You should give me yours. That would be quite a trigger for someone who's the victim of human trafficking, shouldn't it be? Shouldn't it be? Having him say, give me your passport and I will lock it up. And then they're packing stuff up to move to the new place, and she finds handcuffs, and they don't, like, they're gonna have sex, but it's off the page. It's like, it's fade to black, basically. And then we go to the epilogue, and then we're gonna be done! But the epilogue is February the following year at the new place. In the epilogue, Alessia has just put on a sexy dress, and they're gonna go see her parents, I guess. It's a special occasion, it says, but he's like, let's go see your parents. Like, at first he's like, has your father seen you in this dress? And then he's like, let's go shock your parents, because she's wearing like a sexy dress. This just all strikes me as incredibly gross. They have a cook, they have a part-time driver and a handyman, and they're married and they both live in the new house in London. And then there's Valeriana, who is staying with us for another 2 months. Alessia is delighted to have her with us. Me, I'm not so sure. But while she's studying English, she's earning her keep by helping cook around the house, like Alessia used to do. And so he's paying Valeriana under the table to be a housekeeper. Why can't she just live there? Why does she have to earn her keep? Like, why can't she just, like, you're rich, dude. Why can't your wife's friend who just escaped human trafficking just live in your house? Why does she have to help your cook? And why does she have to, like, be employed by you? This book is really gross and classist and xenophobic. Like, there is clearly a place in the world that this author has created for people who are not English-speaking Europeans, and that place is very specific, and that is that non-English-speaking Europeans are staff. She's still nervous around me, and that makes me nervous. But she's making progress with her therapy, so we're hopeful that Valeriana will one day be less anxious. Yeah, it's really important that Valeriana get over her trauma from being trafficked so you feel more comfortable. That's gotta be terrible for you. She hopes to return to Albania and teach, but in the interim she's been helpful in setting up our charitable trust for women who have escaped trafficking. Personally, I think her skills will lend themselves to this line of work once her English improves. She can't really do anything until she can speak fluent English, because with knowing English comes intelligence. I know that that is not what is being intentionally said, and that's what makes it so much worse. The fact that it's accidentally being framed this way. I still don't know what the big occasion is that her parents came down for. Oh, this is what the big thing is Alessia is in concert at the Royal Albert Hall. I knew then that her playing was concert standard, and since enrolling at the Royal College of Music, Alessia's skill and technique has grown exponentially. She's a classical rock star. She's also a draw for the press. Her rags to riches story is irresistible to tabloid editors. We're occasionally hounded by paparazzi on a slow news day. Oh, she has almost sold out Royal Albert Hall. I like that the paparazzi, because she's famous, the paparazzi is chasing them on a slow news day. When he was the famous one, the paparazzi were camped outside their house. But now she's like famous for being like this super good like artist who is almost selling out Royal Albert Hall, and the paparazzi, you know, they're after them because of her, like, you know, on a slow day. Like, not all the time, but like on a slow day. I apologize for the squeaking door. I have a cat who will not leave it alone, and that's just how it is. So Alessia is going to be giving this concert at the Royal Albert Hall, and it's almost sold out, and it's this big thing. So you're probably thinking, wow, this is so different than 50 Shades of Grey, when like the big happily ever after was because the heroine was pregnant. This is awesome. She's there in a sexy gown, she's living her dream, she's playing this big concert, her family and her friends are there. This is what the big, you know, wrap up of the story is. Ha ha! Ha ha! But that's not the only reason I'm so nervous. I don't want her to be stressed in any way, ... But she's probably stressed right now. This morning, ... she told me she's pregnant. This morning, ... she told me she's pregnant. Write that down longhand, please. Type it out, look at it, read it. See if it looks as weird to you as it looks to me. And I'm giddy with joy, but we have to keep it quiet for a few more weeks. I'm going to be a father. Me. A dad. I'm fucking thrilled. And that's it. That's it. He thinks he's thrilled and that he's going to be a dad, and then it says the performance is about to begin, and that's the last line of the book. There is a poem. There's a Yeats poem. There's a reading group guide. We have to do a video on it. I'm sorry, but I was going to start the next video was going to be the first one of our next title, but it's got to be, we have to do a video for the reading group thing. So there will be a video about the reading group questions. I cannot believe, I mean, like, oh man, they do their best in here to make it seem like this was deep and that there were like a lot of important themes in it. So we definitely have to do that. That said, we are still going to be moving on to another book, and I'm going to use the book that was the second, it was like the runner-up for what we picked for the Jealous Patrons book club, and the Jealous Patrons book club, and there's a link down in the thing, because in Jealous Patrons book club, we are reading Fourth Wing, and it just barely beat the book Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. So we're going to read Butcher and Blackbird, and I'm really looking forward to it because I started off that book with really high hopes. I ended up DNFing it, but it's not badly written. I DNF'd it for like picky serial killer fan reasons. So we'll be doing that next, and so tune in for that. Check the box there for all the links that we need. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you on the flip side.